HSBC, Credit Suisse and Standard Chartered have pulled out of a Saudi investment conference scheduled for next week. The European banks join a growing number of businesses who are trying to distance themselves from Riyadh as the fallout over the disappearance and presumed murder of a Saudi journalist continues. Google, JP Morgan, Ford and Virgin have also withdrawn their participants. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin is, for the moment, still slated to attend the event known as Davos in the Desert, but he is expected to make an announcement on that decision by the end of the week.
President Trump says he's spoken to the Saudi Crown Prince about the missing journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and answers will be coming shortly. Turkish investigators are still waiting to search the residence of the Saudi Consul General in Istanbul as they try to find out what happened to Khashoggi. The Saudi Consul General, meanwhile, has already left Istanbul for Riyadh. On Monday, Turkish investigators spent 12 hours combing through the Saudi consulate, which Khashoggi was last seen entering 2 weeks ago. Al Jazeera has been told that forensic experts have found evidence that Khashoggi was killed inside the building.
Right now, as you are aware, as a result of our intense contacts, the search process in the consulate has started. Yesterday, there was an intense process until morning, and it will continue. My hope is that we can reach conclusions that will give us a reasonable opinion as soon as possible. The investigation is looking into many things, such as toxic materials, and those materials being removed by painting them over.
Let's talk to Jamal El-Shayal, who's outside the Saudi consulate for us in Istanbul. Jamal, almost from straight after the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi, a lot of things have been coming out about what happened to him. But first of all, tell us, we've been expecting Turkish investigators to enter the Consul General's residence for some time now, a couple of hours actually. Why the delay?
Well, it's not quite clear, unfortunately, because from the beginning of the disappearance of Jamal Khashoggi, there hasn't been some sort of media liaison person from either the Turkish authorities here or from the Saudi authorities, obviously, who are a lot less willing even to talk. The Turks have been giving us information either through sources that would only speak on condition of anonymity, and then there were those few occasions where they would talk to us, like late on Monday evening when the Attorney General's office gave us information. And then there are the public statements that come, like that of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, which we just heard. We've also heard in the past couple of hours spokesperson of the governing AK party, Omar Çelik, who is pretty close also to the President of the Republic of Turkey, saying and insisting that there would be a proper investigation that would conclude and would reveal all the information in it. He said this case of Jamal Khashoggi could not and will not be brushed under the rug or under the carpet, as he said, and that the investigations that are taking place, although there is a joint one between the Turkish and Saudi authorities, there is an independent Turkish one run by the Attorney General's office, which will continue its work regardless. And it is that one that has been a lot more forthcoming, at least in the information. Now, obviously, I am sure we'll be hearing from the United States about these recent comments that have come out from Donald Trump. But just to give you the Turkish reaction to that, it seems that the Turks have been waiting to see how this is going to play out. And the fact that we're now hearing of a denial again from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman that he knew anything of it, and the fact that it appears to be seen that the United States president actually believes that, it is maybe no coincidence that suddenly more leaks have come out from the Turkish investigators talking about to the details of what happened to Jamal Khashoggi. It seems that whenever there is a move on the political or diplomatic front, that is either closely followed by or preceded by some sort of leak or information coming from the investigators. So it's important to note, as we have been saying from the very beginning, Barbara, that this is not simply a criminal investigation. This is a lot of politicking. This is a lot of geopolitics being played out, unfortunately, on the death of a journalist who was none the wiser of the fate that was going to befall him after he entered the building behind me 2 weeks to this day.
Jamal El-Shayal there outside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Jamal, thank you. Well, as Jamal was hinting there, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has discussed Khashoggi's disappearance with both the Saudi king and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh. He's now due to travel to Turkey on Wednesday. With the latest, here is Alan Fisher.
Smiles and handshakes as Mike Pompeo arrived in Saudi Arabia to begin a series of high-profile meetings. The U.S. Secretary of State met with King Salman before sitting down with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the man the Turks believe ordered an operation against journalist and U.S. resident Jamal Khashoggi. He made no public comment, but the State Department issued what's called their readout of the meeting afterwards, saying the Secretary and the Crown Prince agreed on the importance of a thorough, transparent and timely investigation that provides answers. Donald Trump sent his Secretary of State to the region as pressure on the U.S. grows to take firmer action against their Middle East ally. The President has already expressed his reluctance to block arms sales to the kingdom and in an early morning tweet rejected suggestions he was reluctant because of his own financial interests, saying, "For the record, I have no financial interests in Saudi Arabia, or Russia for that matter. Any suggestion I have is just more fake news."
We get nothing.
But during the election, he talked happily about doing business with the Saudis.
Saudi Arabia, and I get along great with all of them. They buy apartments from me, they spend 40 million, 50 million. Am I supposed to dislike them? I like them very much.
His comments coming the same day he created 4 new companies in Saudi Arabia, companies his lawyer insists no longer exist. Responding to a suggestion the Saudis may claim Jamal Khashoggi died at the hands of so-called rogue elements of Saudi security, one of Donald Trump's closest allies, an important Republican voice in the Senate, said in the strongest possible terms he wasn't buying it.
I know what I'm going to do. We're going to sanction the hell out of Saudi Arabia. You know, we deal with bad people all the time, but this is in our face. I feel personally offended. They have nothing but contempt for us. Why would you put a guy like me and the president in this box after all the president has done? This guy's got to go. Saudi Arabia, if you're listening, there are a lot of good people you can choose, but MBS has tainted your country and tainted himself.
Meanwhile, it's been reported in the U.S. that the current Saudi ambassador who left Washington last week and was told by the State Department to return with answers probably won't be coming back. Prince Khalid bin Salman is the Crown Prince's younger brother. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, Washington.